Hello everyone, welcome back. Okay, so we're going to pick up right where we left off in the last video with our 2D platformer game that I am building featuring my dog. Okay, so well, let's go ahead and press play right now to recap what's going on here. So we've got an animated sprite that has an idle animation, a walking animation, and a jumping animation, okay? And she's standing on platforms that have box colliders. They probably could have been polygon colliders with just the, little adjustments made around the flowers because of the shape, but a box collider works just fine for something like this. Speaking of polygon colliders, this rock has a polygon collider on it. It's not square. That's a really good bet for a polygon collider. Okay, and we have a bouncy physics material right here. Okay, and let me move that out of the way. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay. So anyway, that's what we have going on so far. What we want to do now, though, is create a background. Oh, and since the last video, I just copied and pasted a bunch of my platforms out so that I could demonstrate the tiling that we're going to do. Okay, so I've also added a few things since the last video. It's no big deal, though. This project is available for download, so you can grab that. So you can get all the assets. You're welcome to use any of the sprites or scripts or anything like that. So anyway, I added these new sprites here. I added some clouds, which you can't quite see with the white background. This tree, some mountains for background, another platform just because, some spikes, and a 200 pixel by 200 pixel gradient color I'm going to use as a sunset background. Okay, note that it's just a tiny little one. Okay, look how small it is. Okay, instead of just making like a 5,000 pixel by 5,000 pixel image that's going to of course be larger size, you only need something really small like this if you tile. Okay, and then I also added a new script, this tiling script. I got this C# code from Brackeys. And I'll put a link below this video and a link on our website really advertising Brackeys because he's got a great tutorial series set up on making 2D platformer games with all the scripts available for free for download. So I highly recommend following this guy, going through his tutorials if you're serious about learning Unity. It's a great resource. Okay, so as you can see, I already added those sprites. If you're not sure how to do this, just check the videos before this one in my series here. There's nothing to it, just drag and drop. And I added the tiling script, okay? So let's go ahead and add a sunset background to this. So I'm going to grab my sunset here and just drop it on. I'm going to go ahead and set the position to 0 and 0. Nothing we haven't seen before. Now, I'm going to increase the size to 30 and 30 on the X and Y scale, okay? Okay, now honestly, you can actually stack up, bricks or a tree or quads or boundaries and wrap them in colliders and constrain your player inside of a certain area if you want to, okay? For example, think of a game like Donkey Kong, okay? If any of you remember Donkey Kong, you can, it was actually it was a game that was constrained, okay, and it was just 2D platforms that you went up. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to tile this along the X and Y axis, so it just keeps going forever, all right? So let's go ahead and do that. It's actually really easy to do. But let's see. Let's go ahead and press play right now, and you're going to notice a problem right away. It's just an orange sunset, okay? Most boring game ever. So we need to fix that first. Now, even though this is a 2D game, you can actually work in 3D space to arrange your 2D elements. So I'm going to come up here where 2D is currently selected and untoggle that. Or technically, I guess that's still a toggle. Anyway, and I'm going to pull this behind all my elements, okay? It's in front right now, so we can't see it. So let's pull it behind, okay? I'm going to pull it back a little ways because I'm going to put some mountains in between here. So I want some room anyway. And let's go ahead and toggle back to 2D. All right, and press play. All right, so now we have a gradient here. And honestly, the gradient doesn't look like much. You can see how the orange gets a little darker up here and a little lighter down here. But when we build some platforms up and give her the ability to climb for a while, I think that will work just fine. So anyway, let's go ahead and come over here. And I've got a platform down here she can stand on. As you can see, we easily leave the background, okay? And so that's what we're going to fix right now by tiling. So let's go ahead and add the tile script. It's super easy, okay? I'm going to just take the tile script. I got sunset selected. I'm just going to drag it over here and drop it. Just as a reminder, that's one way to add a script. Another way is to just drag it over to the hierarchy here and drop it on the word sunset. I can also go to add component, scripts, and there's that tiling again. Okay, so lots of ways to do it. It just depends on your workflow. Okay, so let's go ahead and press play. All right, and let's send Juno up on her platforms and down on this one here. And she can keep walking, and see that? It just keeps tiling, okay? And we're going to do the same thing with some mountains in the background. All right, so let's do that next. So I'm going to come over here to sprites. Going to grab a mountain, drop it in. We'll set it at 0 and 0 for now. I'm going to increase the scale by 3. This is something I had worked out ahead of time, depending if you download this and use these mountains, set this to 3. If you're using something different, you're going to want to experiment a little bit just to decide what scale works for you with the tiling. Okay, so well, let's go ahead and do this now. Let's go to scripts. Drag, let's make sure mountains is selected. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just drop it in. All right, easy enough. And let's press play. Okay, everything's looking good except for, whoops, our mountains are in the front. Oh no, look at that. There's Juno back there wanting to be acknowledged. That's not going to work. So let's go ahead and select our 3D here and pull this back a ways. And as long as it's in front of the sunset, I'm going to put some more mountains back here that are darker, so we'll move it up about right there. And there she is. Okay, she's definitely likes that more. All right, and so that's hilarious. All right, so there we go. And let's get on the platform. As you can see, the mountains are simply tiling. Okay, so that's a pretty cool setup, just like that. Okay, and of course, let's see. Let me press play again. Of course, when you're over here, you can see the bottom of my mountains. Okay. Now, I'm actually going to move the mountains down a little bit, but we can actually take something like this and set it as the ground and just put it right here. You know, there's a lot that we can do here. No problem. You know, you can actually have a big chunk of dirt that just covers up this area. And we'll do something like that eventually. But right now, what I want to do is really straighten out these mountains. Okay, so that's tiled. I did make another set of mountains right here. Okay, and we'll set that to 0 and 0 for now, although we're going to move this one for sure. We're going to set the scale to 3 on the X and the Y, and we'll go ahead and add that script, do it a different way this time. Add that tiling script. Okay, now let's go ahead and move this mountain behind our lighter mountains. I want the darker mountains in the background. Okay, and if we press play right now, yeah, it doesn't quite work because this just looks weird, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go back to 2D view, select the position on the x-axis of my mountain, and then we'll move it over like this. Now, it doesn't matter that it's way out here because it's going to tile anyway, all right? And, you know, yeah, that works just fine. Let's go ahead and press play. Okay, so we've got some, you know, darker mountains in the background, okay? And we'll drop her down on our platform. As you can see, everything's tiling as it should, all right? Yeah, there we go. So we've got some nice background elements going here. Okay, good enough. So now let's go ahead and, well, I think it'd be fun to add some clouds. So I'll go ahead and add a cloud here, and we'll add a cloud up here, like so, because we're going to put some more platforms up high. And, you know, on that note, I think I might actually move this, whoops, up a little ways, like so. Okay, so that's good. Let's see here. Where's our destroyer quad? Let's go ahead and put that destroyer quad back. All right. We'll figure out what to do with that in a bit here. Okay, so clouds. That's great. Let's go ahead and go to scripts. There we go. And tile those clouds as well. So select both clouds and then tile the clouds. Looking good. Press play. There we go. All right. So I guess Juno's going to have to get up here a ways to get into those clouds. All right. And as you can see, I actually like how they're in front, so it kind of looks like she goes through the clouds or something like that. That's pretty cool. All right. And if she drops down here, it looks like you can't see the clouds. All right. So maybe, well, that's fine because we're going to put a lot more platforms on that. All right, but that's how you tile game elements, okay? And so, I mean, if I were to continually add these bouncing, you know, platforms so that she could just keep leaping through the clouds would just keep tiling, just like the background is and just like the mountains are, okay? So that is one way to you know, create tiled backgrounds, okay? Repeating background. And it's pretty nice because you can just keep looping the same elements that way. And that way you don't have to have huge elements that are, you know, really large file size. You can just use little things. Like, for example, this is just a little 200 pixel by 200 pixel sunset image there. So there you go, tiled backgrounds. So now what I want to do is I want to actually add some more elements to this and just have some more fun with everything, because we have this destroyer script. And so I actually want to set the destroyer script up on some spikes, okay? So where if Juno bounces into the spikes or falls on the spikes, then it destroys her. And in this case, it's going to just pause the game. And we'll get to where that creates a game over scene coming up in a later video. All right, so, for now, go ahead and have some fun with this and tile some backgrounds, okay? This is one way to do it that I think works really well.